Welcome to Mama's Playground. This is Darlene.
And this is Monica.
And thank you, all of you that are tuning in. We appreciate it. We want to also let you know that it is Mama's Playground. We would love to have some of you, if you want to call us or send us DMs through Instagram or TikTok or YouTube. We're constantly reading all of the messages and we try to reply back as soon as possible. The 25,000 ones that we get, we wish, right? But yeah, if you ever want to be part of our show, just let us know. Let us know what you want to vent or talk about. It's a playground. It's open to all you moms and dads. And even if you're not a parent, if you want to come in and talk with us, that would be amazing. We would love to have you.
Yeah.
Yes. So today it's an interesting topic. There's a page I want to give a shout out. It's called Mark and Angel. This page is really nice. They have like different articles and different interesting things that we can use on our daily lives. And I came across this article which talks about regrets. You know, we constantly have regrets for things that we didn't do, that we did do, that we said, that we didn't say, that I feel that every day there's some regrets going on in our heads. And this article talks about 10 life choices we will all regret in 10 years if we're not careful, actually.
Yeah. So, I mean, before we start this article, I wanted to ask you, obviously we're in our 40s. I think regrets come from all the different years that you have in your life. Again, what you said, things that you've done, things that you haven't done, things that you said. Can you think of, in your own personal setting, before we go through the article, like things that your number one regret at this point in your life?
Oh, I feel this has been always a big thing for me. I've always said I don't want to grow old and saying I regret something. I've always said that. And in my 20s, I feel that I was good. I am not going to, right now, the way I'm living and what I have, I don't think I'm ever going to regret anything. But then in my 30s, things change. I regret some life decisions as far as, I say that and I know that everything happens for a reason, but I regret not being there the last years of my grandparents when they were alive because I was in LA pursuing a career which I am actually not doing now. So all the time these things come to me. What if instead of going to LA to study acting, if I would have just stayed local and close to my grandparents? I regret it, but then I try to think to make myself feel better. You know, it happened for a reason, the friends that I made there, the experiences which make who I am today. So I would say that's one. And then the other one, which I didn't know about that at that time, and I've talked about this before, is not freezing my eggs when I was younger. That would be the two.
That's obviously a heavy one.
It's
a heavy one. I don't know. I feel like, for instance, in my life, I have a couple of regrets. And I think the regrets, you start seeing, sometimes you start wondering if you would have taken different avenues and maybe in opportunities that you were given, like where would you be today? At least for me, like I had some couple of opportunities that I never took. And I say to myself sometimes, but where would I be if I would have taken that step? Or if I would have moved here when they asked me to move? But then, you look now, and like you said, you look at your life now and you say, well, if I would have done X, Y, or Z, and I'm not going to go into specifics, I wouldn't have the life that I have now, or I wouldn't have the kids that I have now. I wouldn't be married to who I am, with now. At least I don't think I would be. I don't think our paths would have crossed if I would have taken certain opportunities. But I think you do think like the what if, right? Like, what if I would have done this differently? And what would have been those outcomes,
Yeah, for sure. Career choices is probably one of the main ones out there. I don't know. I would love to do a poll and see what people think, but definitely career choices has to be on the top of the list of maybe I would be making more money now. And it's crazy because one time I was regretting by me going to LA, I had to say no to a job offer to work on radio on a station here in Miami. And I remember being, no, because I'm moving to LA, I'm going to be acting over there and blah, blah, blah. And I didn't take it. And that one always stayed with me. But now that doing this podcast, I feel that I'm doing, it's not your phone just fell.
Yes, it did. Sorry.
I try to hide her phone before we start because she
Yes, I need to have my phone. It's like a dependency thing.
Monica needs therapy. So now she just moved a little bit and she looks at me like, oop, I've been caught.
Anyways, sorry. Continue.
Anyway,
Sorry
so
about that.
I feel that I didn't take that job, but so many years fast forward to today, and here I am doing a podcast.
Yeah.
It's my own show with Monica.
Darlene and Monica.
Darlene and Monica and Sevilla Group Studio. Shout out. They're always doing production. That's why we look good and sound good. So I found this article because I do think about these regrets here and there, and we shouldn't be having regrets. It's natural. It's going to happen, but we should switch the mindset of, it was meant for us to be there doing that. And I know that the whole career thing sometimes sucks because it's, man, if I would have studied medicine,
where would I be right now?
Where would I be now? But then think about it, because I've actually thought about it. If I would have, I don't know, the time, for example, that I have now with Luna, and I am so hands-on. I'm able to go drop her off at school, pick her up at school. We get to travel. I don't have to be asking for time off and all that. So I appreciate, in a way, what I'm doing now with the podcast. I work from home. I make my own schedule doing other things. And if I would have been a doctor, yes, I would probably be right now in a beautiful home. Well, my home is beautiful, but you know what I mean? Like a bigger house, traveling more often, this and that. But yeah, I mean, at the end, I'm happy where I'm at, and I'm grateful and thankful.
Yeah, at the end of the day, with the material things, you realize that at the end of your days, it's not, it's not anything really significant. We think it is because, we're living in this like pressure society. But when you think about it, like the older people that get older, they're like, at the end of the day, none of that matters.
Yeah.
None of that matters. And I think, with this article versus it being just for adults, it's also something that we can go through to kind of start maybe teaching our kids that, like, those regrets that you have, or, to make wise choices in your life, and at the end of the day, you can't choose all of it. So there's going to be something that is always going to be left to the back as a, what if I would have done this? And, or if I didn't do this, where would I have been now,
Yeah. And the article talks about it. Let's jump on the article. It's because this is exactly for us to learn to be better for us, and then to teach our kids. Right now, they're too little, at least in our case, to be talking about regret. But yeah, the fact that whatever is important right now, material stuff, what's trending, again, we go back to la boo, la this, la that, la whatever, and probably in a year nobody's gonna give a shit. Okay, so for example, so we're gonna go over the 10 life choices, again, that we will all regret in 10 years if we're not careful. One of them, letting others tell us what we are worth. This is important. I don't know why I go with this one on relationships. Like, if you're in a relationship where you're feeling, what do you call it? They don't unappreciate it and things like that. And they make you, you're going to be nothing if we're ever divorced. You're not going to be able to afford this or that. You're not going to be happy. You're going to need me. No. If you're in a bad relationship, get out of it.
And it's not just the relationship of couples, relationships between friends and all that stuff,
Yeah, of course.
I think we tend to forget that, most people, we're always scared to be judged. Anything that we do, we're scared to be judged. And sometimes we start worrying about what so-and-so is going to say. And at the end of the day, we have to understand that those people are also going through their things. Yeah. And, the fact of being judged, you're always going to be judged. You're never going to get away with not being judged.
Yes, and you're being judged also based on what past experiences of that person.
Correct.
So it's why do I have to pay for that when it's your situation, it's your past experiences, what you can't, get over with, like it's still in your head, and now you're trying to bring it on my side. So you have to know where people are coming from with their comments or the way they look at you. And that's something that could happen with kids. They said that I'm not their friend. They like better the other friend. That happened to Luna the other day, that her friend was, I want to play more with her because I'm more used to being with her. And Luna felt bad. This came from a really good friend of her. And I said, maybe she wasn't feeling well, or the way she said it, or who knows. So yeah, that girl ended up then a whole week, she was super sick. So at that moment, she didn't want to play with her. She was in a bad mood. She wasn't feeling well. She said something to Luna that made her feel bad, but it had nothing to do with Luna. And that's something that we as adults have to learn. Don't take it personal. You never know what the other person is going through.
It happens in a lot of settings. I was, adding to that, talking to a friend that, like her and her husband have a couple of businesses now. And we were at dinner and she was telling me how she feels like one of her close friends has a little, like something like a little jealousy maybe. Mm-hmm. And I said, unfortunately that happens. Like, between even friends, your closest family members. And that usually stems to the fact of that person maybe not fulfilling a certain something in their own life. And then they see you doing things or trying things, even if you're failing, right? Because I've done 1,000 things in my life. I've started 1,000 things in my life that some of them have not come into fruition, others have, but people still get a little, weird about it. And you feel like, why are they being so judgy, or why are they like not supporting me? And it stems from that own person's maybe, I don't know what the word is, but that own person's like lack of or of doing, or their own consciousness, right? That they feel bad about, and you're never going to get away with that. Like you're never going to please everybody. So at the end of the day, it's more so do what you want to do with your life. Mm-hmm. And if that means trying 10,000 things and your family's like, oh my God, she always does this and she never finishes, it doesn't matter. You did it. You got it out of your system and you keep moving forward.
Don't think about what others are going to think or say, or just do you. The third one would be letting uncertainty stop us.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's that what if, right? Like,
actually, wait, no. I skipped one. Well, we can do that one. Number 2, being too busy impressing others and forgetting about our priorities.
It kind of goes back to the other thing.
It's the same thing. It's like 10 years from now, you're not going to even remember the expensive shoes you got, or this or that, or, same as the other one. So then the third one, letting uncertainty stop us. Not just being afraid of not doing something because,
or not succeeding.
Happen, or I'm not going to succeed. I'm going to be terrible at that. It's just putting all these doubts on yourself that...
Darlene, it comes to this podcast too. When we started this podcast, it's always been like, let's do it for fun. And then we stopped for a year. We came back. And then you always have that thing because people are watching you. The funny part is like you'll put, like, for instance, in our case, we put stuff on, like, let's say Instagram, or we put it on, our own personal stories where our friends and family are seeing it. And you realize that they're watching. The same people are watching your snippets and all that, but they're not commenting. They're not liking. And in my mind, there's a certain feeling that you get of people kind of like, it's weird. It's such a weird energy that you get. But I actually saw, oh my God, I wanted to give credit to her because I've been watching her, like her stuff on Instagram, where she says it has nothing to do with you. Yeah. Again, it's always about that other person. They're watching you. They're looking at you. They might even be going, man, I wish I would be doing a podcast, let's say.
I've gotten that from friends. Oh, I wish I was doing that when I moved to LA. Oh, I wish I would have moved to LA and done what you did, and, follow your dreams and I had a friend tell me about our podcast, said, I really take my hats off to you that you don't care, that you're out there putting out content and you don't care that you're going out. And at the end of the day, I'm like, why should I? I'm not going to be on this earth forever. And what you don't do now, you're not going to be able to do later, So why not do the stuff that you want? And I feel that, in every episode, we're trying to throw out a message there. We talk about things, conflicts that we could be going through, and we want to share our experiences for those people that could be listening to know that they're not alone. It definitely has helped me. Other podcasts that I hear, oh my God, I was just going through that. So, okay, I'm not alone. So we're here for
a connection.
That. We always say we're not experts. We're just, two moms that like to talk and a lot and vent. And again, I said at the beginning of the episode, you're more than welcome to come and talk also about your own things. And hey, the world is crazy right now. Let's just be happy and do us and not stress.
Yeah.
The next one, focusing on failures instead of present opportunities.
Well, that's a good one, because it even says like it's better to focus on the little wounds, all the little things that you maybe didn't achieve, or the little things that you didn't versus, or the things that you said, because sometimes you're like, I wish I wouldn't have said that. But maybe at that moment, could be in any context, right? Like maybe at that moment, it was something you were feeling and you needed to get it out of your chest, and you said it. And then you go home regretting, saying, man, why did I say that? But you know what? It's live and learn. Like, I think, what is that? There's a saying with that it's better to not leave things unsaid, not to leave things undone. Like, do it. And if you failed, or you may have hurt somebody's feelings or whatever, maybe you have to come back and say, I'm sorry or whatever, but you got maybe something off of your chest.
I'm not sorry.
You know what I mean? Like, if it's something that you really said, why did I say that? I really hurt somebody's feelings, or why did I do that? It really offended so-and-so, at the end of the day, you did it already. Maybe you go back and you apologize, or you do what you need to do to make it better. But you got it out of your chest, like there shouldn't be that regret. Although I know I've had regrets for certain things that I have said that, probably shouldn't have said.
And it's such a terrible feeling when there's, when you're going through these regrets. I'm sure you feel it. Like, it's this thing, I don't know, it's like a brain and heart connection that makes you feel sick, that you're wishing that you can turn time back, and it's happening.
And eat your words.
I wish it was 24 hours ago and I would not have done what I did, and it could stay there for a whole day, maybe
festering.
40 hours, something like that. And then it goes away. And then right now I can't even think of one, which is good.
Yeah.
But
I haven't had one of those recently.
But it's happened. But it's, whatever is bothering you now, just be positive that it'll go away. And just put in your head, everything happens for a reason. Better to have said it than not said anything at all. Blah, 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 blah. Well, it depends on the situation. But this line, which was in this article under this one about focusing on failures, not focusing on failures, it says, it's better to have a life full of small wounds and failures that you learned from, rather than a lifetime filled with the regrets of never trying.
Oh, absolutely.
I love that line.
Absolutely.
And it's, no what ifs. Just go and do it, as long as it's not going to kill you.
It's funny going to like a kind of faith, right? Like now in my 40s, I feel like, I was born and raised under the Catholic setting, church. I went to Catholic school. My parents are Catholic. And I always thought of myself as more of a spiritual person, never so much into like a certain religion or whatever. And now with time, I feel like with the whole feeling that that you keep getting older, and that we will eventually, and it sounds so like sad or whatever, but it's beautiful at the end of the day. We're not going to be here one day. So why would you hold yourself back from doing everything you want to do when you know that there's going to be a day that you won't be able to do those things anymore? And when you really understand that, and you really wake up every morning giving thanks that you're still here, being able to see your family, to be able to see your friends, do the things that you want, why wouldn't you take that opportunity to do it? Like when it really hits you, like that sometimes really hits me, like when I'm like, oh no, I'm not gonna do that, because what are people gonna think? They're gonna think that that's so stupid or whatever. And it's like, who cares? I might not be here tomorrow, so why not do the things that you want to do? It could be anything, So anyways, I just wanted to put that in there, plug that in.
I love that. What you just said. You have to go out and give it a try. I always go back to The Golden Bachelor. I know, my guilty pleasure. But you see these women, they're in their 60s. There was one that's 71, I believe. But they're out. They're energetic. They're playing sports in the show. They're going out on dates. They're fit. And they talk about their grandkids and how much they miss, their families while they're on the show. But they're so hopeful for the future, for finding love. And I respect that. They're there and they say, I'm here because I'm looking for the next love of my life. And I love that, because they're in their late 60s, some of them. And like you said, it's a beautiful life. We don't know how long we're going to be here. So we just have to go and do it.
No, and I think that the regrets with these, like all the things that we regret, at the end of the day, it's so minimal.
Actually, one thing that I do regret, I lost my favorite aunt this year, and last year we went to Europe with my parents, and there's like a small regret there of, instead of going to Europe, to go see her in New Jersey. And instead of doing that trip over there, which was beautiful, and I don't regret going on the trip, But then I'm thinking, what if we would have gone to New Jersey instead and we would have spent time with her? I mean, there's nothing I can do right now. She's gone. And I'm not going to leave that in my head because it's going to drive me crazy. But if anything, that goes to show that think about your priorities, think about
it teaches you now for future, right?
It teaches now for the future on priorities and spend time with those. I mean, nowadays, you can go tomorrow in your 20s, in your 30s. When God calls you, that's it. But just spend time with your loved ones, telling them that you love them, and try to go pay those visits that you're trying to prolong for later. Oh, I'll go visit them whenever. Just try to plan it now.
I think that's easier now for us to say as we're older.
Yeah,
because when
course.
we were in our 20s, damn, I was not thinking about any regrets. I was like, I want to do this, I want to do that. It happened kind of the same thing. I had my grandfather living with us until I was about 17, 18 years old. And I remember I got invited to this modeling party. I never forget. And that night he was sick. And that night was the only night I usually would give him a kiss on the forehead because he was bedridden. Mm-hmm. And that was the only night I leave with my friends. Didn't think anything about it, having fun, and I got a phone call that night that he had passed away. And that was one of the only nights that I did not say bye, Grandpa, and give him a kiss or anything like that. And I always had that in the back of my mind. But those, I think, are things that we, with experience, we start to realize, again, what is priority and what is not, so that you don't have, those regrets later. And at the end of the day, it just comes down to doing the things that you want, but also I feel, at least for me, family is a priority, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, especially, parents, grandparents, for those of you that still have them. I would do anything. And I tell Luna, appreciate your grandparents. I would do anything to be able to, oh my God, to touch, to kiss, to have another conversation with my grandparents. But let's move to the next one before we
we start sobbing here.
Yeah, exactly. So another one, playing the victim for too long. That's
so many people play the victim. So many. I'm sorry. You see, there I'm very conscious. I'll play the victim. Like, for instance, I have something that I play the victim with my parents, which was I always wanted to do the acting and all that. And I had gotten some casting calls and they were like, oh, we want her back or whatever. And that's what I wanted to do. I must have been like 12, 13, I don't know. And my mom didn't care for those things. So I always had this thing, even, not now, but back in my 20s, I used to throw it in her face all the time. And I would say, where would I be right now if you would have given me the opportunity to do those things? And I would always put that into literally ream it into her head. It's your fault that I am not. And I would play the victim. And then I realized, obviously, with age, my mom was doing the best that she could. You know what I mean? And it was her way of protecting me from, whatever she felt, was necessary at that time. And so what can you do? You can't keep playing the victim. You have to pass the card and say, you know what, let's move on. Now I am the owner of my life, and whatever I don't do from here on out, which obviously was several years back, it's not now, it's when, after you hit a certain age, whatever I don't do now is my issue. It's my problem now. Nobody's holding you back.
Own it. Yeah.
Nobody's holding you back.
It's funny that you say that about your mom, because in my case, I wanted to study acting and directing in NYU. I was probably 17. I was still a senior in high school. And I got the pamphlets and everything and the brochures, and I was so excited. I'm going to go to NYU, and my dad was super supportive. But my mom, because they were born in Puerto Rico, raised in New York. They met in New York, got married there, and then they moved to PR, where they had me and my siblings there. Short background. But since she was raised in New York, and they were done with the snow, done with the cold weather. And so when I said I want to go to NYU, my mom was, oh, no, it's too cold over there.
That was her excuse.
That was her excuse. And I do talk about this probably twice a year with my parents. I go, I can't believe that you didn't want me to go to New York because it was cold and it was snowing.
It was your own thing,
Yeah.
She threw it onto you.
But yeah, I remember when you said that about your mom. But yeah, we let it go.
You can't play the victim. I always say, you know, just to give a little tidbit to that, like I've seen people that play the victim for everything. Everything bad happens because of everybody else. This happened because of that person's fault or that situation, but they never look within and say, why do I keep having these patterns of, you know, of these things happening to me? So it's like, you got to stop at some point playing victim and, you know, own it and say, you know what, this is happening to me because, dude, I keep doing the same shit, excuse my language, over and over and over again. That's why I keep getting the same freaking response. I got to change something, you know? So anyways, I just had to put that tidbit in there.
I feel that kids do that. I feel that kids can do that too when they play the victim. Luna now has an excuse for everything. She'll do something, Mom, no, but it's because you, or it's because he, or it's because she. And I go, no, because you.
You have to look within.
That just started this year, and it's going to end really soon. No more. The next one, waiting, over analyzing, and never taking action. That's one thing also. Like you were constantly waiting for, we're gonna do this when the right time comes. There's no right time.
Yeah. And lots of time, it's just like, it's the most simplest thing from like, I bought a beautiful outfit, but I'm going to wait for the right time to wear it. What if you never get that right time to wear it?
Or the bottle, that nice bottle of wine. I'm going to wait for a special occasion.
To open it.
Special occasion could be, you know, on a Sunday visiting your parents and being like, hey, Dad, let's drink this wine. You don't have to wait for his birthday.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. We do that a lot. It's like, now it's just like, just live, you know? It's like when you get like that, you just have to stop for a minute and say, I just need to live. I just need to have fun. Like, why do I have to? Well, here's another thing. Like during school week, right? With the kids, like, oh, they want to go play at, I don't know, a jumping place. And you're like, no, we have to wait till the weekend. It's like, why don't we say, finish your homework and let's go?
In that case,
you know?
In that case, I'm like, let's just wait for well,
do the same
weekends.
thing.
It gets too crowded on weekends.
I do the same thing, but it's like, why? Enjoy it, man. They're little, you know, but again, I get it. You can't always. You know,
I did a movie back in probably 2006 called Shut Up and Do It, and it had to do with that. Yeah, shut up and do it. Just remember that.
Just start. I have a book that says just start. Like, just start. Whatever it is you want to do, just do it already. You know,
that's true. The next one, being too busy to appreciate life.
That happens, I think, to the bulk of us.
I wonder if that happens more with men, because I feel that, let's go on a road trip to Disney. I keep talking about Disney in every episode. I'm dying to go back. Oh, no. We can't do it right now. I'm too busy. I feel that it comes more from the men, because the women, we always need a break from the daily thing, the cooking every day, the being, you know, the home maker is
you're talking about trips, so that I could see that. But what about when you're here stressing about the laundry, the floor's not clean, I gotta cook, you know what I mean? And you just don't, you know, you're just too busy to appreciate the fact that Luna's watching a show and she wants you to go see a show with her.
Oh, you went very deep. I like, but it's so true. It's true.
It's in so many different things. It's not just
true.
trips.
But no, my props to you right now, because you are so right. And that's one thing that I feel, and I don't know if I mentioned this in an episode or because it's very fresh in my heart right now. She's getting older. She has a dollhouse. She has a princess castle. She has a little, you know, toy kitchen. And I feel that I am not playing these things with her. And I don't want, now I'm thinking about it, I don't want to regret the day that we're taking that out of the house because she's too old.
She's in a different
I don't want to
phase.
see the princess castle leaving and me being, wow, I didn't even play with her. And she has all the princesses and all the Barbies, and I'm like, I need to go back to being a 6-year-old and get on that mindset with her so we can play. Because I feel that the day that we get rid of all that, we're gonna regret it because I'm too busy. Yeah. And sometimes I'm cleaning the kitchen and she's, Mom, come watch this with me. And so I'm working on that, on just being more present, for sure.
I'm not saying it to you. I do this. So that's why I just pointed it to you because I'm talking to you. But I do it as well. I have the kids at home and it's like, you should. Should is such, sometimes I hate the word should. It's like you have to, right? But, you know, you have to sometimes stop for a minute, if possible, and say, let me appreciate this moment, because that moment is going to be gone. Yeah. And you may get a repeat day because your days from Monday through Friday or Monday through Thursday, let's say school days, are basically almost the same. It's like the same routine. But what if you don't get that day? Like, what do you know what's going to happen tomorrow? We don't know, you know? And like, why not take those little breaks? I don't have to say it's always, but we do have to stop sometimes and appreciate, you know, what we've got going on in our daily life.
True.
You know?
And maybe doing those errands after you put them to sleep, then okay, now it's I avoid that, because by the time when I come back from putting her to sleep, because I like to lay down with her for a little bit or for the whole night, I'm gonna be too tired to go now and clean the kitchen and do this. So, but I'm gonna start doing that, because if not, the last hour that she's awake before going to bed, I oftentimes spend that last hour just picking up and cleaning, and then that'll put me in a little bit in a bad mood. And Luna, you know what, go brush your teeth and let's go. So making that last hour a little bit more pleasant.
It's funny, like I don't think that we will ever truly learn it until, unfortunately, we're all human, and this is like the human experience, until those phases have passed. You know, it is.
That's what I'm afraid of.
And that's why when you talk to somebody that's older, 70s, 80s, they're like, hey, I wish I would have done this, or they have those regrets, and they're telling you, don't do the same thing that I did, but you still end up repeating that, because in your moment and in your life, this is what you're going through. You're trying to get 1,000 things together or done, and then, you know, it's just time passes, and then it's constant. I don't think we will ever stop regretting some sort of choice that we
after
did.
After your 30s, you know? I think more than anything.
Yeah. No, and I think, no, even more so, the kids in their 20s. Like, you are just going and you're having the great time and you're saying yes to all these things, but then what are you putting in the back burner to do all these things, or to go out with your friends? And then when you realize that you're in your 40s and let's say your parents are still around and all that they've aged, and now how many more years do you get? Or the friend that you didn't call or pick up the phone, you know, or those are the important things. I think first and foremost is your group of friends, which basically, or your group of friends and your family, which basically here, and I think it goes to the
next one,
which is not spending enough quality time with the right people. And I think that is like the number one thing. Your family, whether you're married or not, your kids, your parents, if they're still around, grandparents, cousins, how many cousins? I have a lot of cousins too that I don't talk to all the time. And I always tell my mom, I'm like, we're close. Like, I know I can pick up the phone and say, but we don't talk to them all the time. What if one day they're not like there? And I think first and foremost is the regret of the connections that you have with the people in your life.
And you know, something very sad that happened. I've lost 2 people that I didn't even know they were sick. And
there was no communication.
Because there was no communication, and suddenly they passed away. What do you mean they passed away? Oh, they've had cancer and I go, oh my God, I didn't know that.
And then you have the big regret. Why didn't I call them?
Yeah.
Why didn't I make more of an effort?
Yeah,
you know,
or just even being more, in my case, be more on Facebook. Because in Facebook, I have over 1,000, you know, do we call it followers on Facebook?
No, friends.
And I was telling Fabian the other day, I know every single person. I go through my feed because I was trying to clean it up, and I'm like, I can't delete them. I know them. So be more alert, because on Facebook, people post more about live situations. Instagram, it's less, and TikTok, forget about it. But I feel that in Facebook is where people say, hey, pray for me, I'm going through this. And later, when I go back to these friends that I've lost, to their pages, they've documented everything. But I wasn't logging in. I wasn't checking. So...
You weren't up to date.
Yeah.
You weren't up to date with what was happening.
So, but do you get this a lot? Oh my God, enjoy them now because they grow so fast.
Yeah. And
that's
everybody...
so common, and it's so true.
Tells you that. Everybody tells you. It's funny. My mom used to tell me, you know, we give advice. I tell you, in my 20s, I give you my advice out of my experience because I'm older, this and that, and you don't listen to that. Because I used to tell my mom all the time, my parents, I was like, nobody is going to take advice from anybody that's older than them lots of times. Why? Because you're still going through the motions and you're living your life, you know, day by day, and you're going through whatever you're going through, and your experience might not be my experience. So then we think that we know it all. I think it just, like, for instance, with the regret thing, I think the first and foremost is the connections that you make and checking in with people. Like, I think that's one of the biggest regrets that you could have.
Oh, yeah.
Besides the fact of maybe not going for that career or for that, thing that you wanted to do because of fear of what somebody's going to say. I think the first and foremost is the connections that you did not reach out to because, they didn't call me. So why am I going to call them? They're not like that. Who cares? That's where in that book with Mel Robbins of the Let Them Theory, she talks about that. Like, who cares if your friend didn't call you? Are you thinking about them? Do you want to know how they're doing? Who cares if they didn't call you? Call them, pick up the phone and send a text. They don't want to reach out. They might not text back, but you did what you wanted to do. Like, why do you have to wait around for everybody to do that? And
even if you're in an argument or something and you're fighting with a loved one, we're not talking about an acquaintance that you see once a year, but your parent, your sibling, your best friend, your neighbor. I mean, come on, we need to get this together, this world, and be in a happier place. Oh my God, how beautiful. So with that one, we go to the last one, which is not expressing our love openly and fully. I love you, Monica.
I love you too, Darlene. And no, it's true. It's the words that you don't want to say. It's like, it's funny. It's like even thinking of couples that start dating or whatever, and they've been dating for 3 months, 4 months, and nobody has said, I love you first, but they may be thinking in their mind, oh my God, I really love this person. So do I, but I'm not going to say it first. Why not? Just freaking, I was going to curse and I'm not going to curse. Why don't you just say it? Like, I love you. It's like, no, I don't want to do it. It's like the ego also plays.
Who did it first in your relationship?
I think Benjamin did.
Okay.
Benjamin did. And then I was like, I love you too.
Who did it first in ours, Fabian? He doesn't remember. Now I'm thinking.
I think it was Benjamin. He's like, I love you. And I was like, you know what? I love you too.
Did we ever say I love you?
Oh my God, you never say I love you to your husband.
Yes, we do. But I'm thinking of the beginning. I can't remember it. Now I'm going to stay thinking about that. But yeah, call your parents, say I love you, and just tell people how you feel. And don't be afraid of, even to a stranger, don't go and say I love you. But even if you see a woman pass by and she has a beautiful dress, tell her, say, hey, I love that dress, because that little thing can make a difference in that person's life. You don't know what they're dealing with that day, if they're in a bad mood, if they just lost someone, and the fact that you're taking your time to not fake complimenting. You're not going to be doing that, but just saying like, oh my God, I love your shoes, I love your dress.
If you truly feel that way, yeah.
Exactly. There's nothing wrong with that. It's the other way around. It's a beautiful thing. It's a great habit to have. And yeah, just expressing and showing kindness and love. And my name is Darlene, and I represent Miss Puerto Rico.
I'm going to add a little thing. Coming here today, I went to go get coffee. I go to La Carreta to go get coffee. And there was this older gentleman that was standing there, like as I was trying to get my coffee. He's looking at me through his sunglasses. I could see him, and I was like, I wonder what he's thinking. Us women are always like, what is he thinking? At least I think that way. I'm like, why is he staring at me? Anyways, he ends up going
Not paranoid at all. Not paranoid at all.
No, I was just like, he was staring, and I was like, okay, maybe, I don't know, whatever. Anyways, long story short, I get in my car. I'm driving, and he was outside of his car, and he stops me. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to open up the window and see what he has to say. He comes and he goes, ma'am, I need to tell you something. I love your hair color. I wasn't sure if it was the sunlight, but now that I see you, it's such a beautiful hair color.
Your green eyes.
And he just said my hair. And I said to him, oh my God, thank you so much. And honestly, I rolled that window back up. I said, bye, thank you so much. You just made my day. And as I was driving, I was like, the sun was coming in through my window,
Wait, hold on 1 second. This is the alarm. We have to go pick up the kids.
The sun was coming in through the window, and I was like, oh, it's just like the clouds past the sun, and I was like, oh, he made my day. He said I have beautiful hair. I was like,
you see?
It was a nice compliment to have.
Okay, so go and do that today. Please go. If you're listening, do it today, do it tomorrow, but do it, okay?
Yes.
So with that said,
we're wrapping it up.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week. We love you.
Bye. Love you too.